Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. And today I bring you a very sweet happy birthday card made mostly with products from This Calls for Confetti. Let's jump on in. So I decided I wanted to do some ink blending with this beautiful stencil from This Calls for Confetti. Now it is called the Arched Lattice Circle Stencil. It is a layering stencil, and it also has a die to cut out that arched shape as well. So I'm just using one of my small blender brushes, and you can see that I'm using a little bit of spun sugar and then some milled lavender. And I know it's an odd choice, but then I also add in some antique linen at the end. I think it turns out to be a beautiful blend, and in my eye, or in my mind's eye, it looks the way that I had hoped it would. So this was an odd mix, but it turned out to be very, very pretty. Now the ink looks kind of splotchy. That's only because the stencil was wet when I started. So it is the blending brush and the ink are picking up some of that moisture, but it all, what's the word they say, kind of levels out as it dries. So I did that ink blending. It was just down and dirty, nothing fancy. And then I lift my stencil off, cleaning it as I go. I want to make sure that I'm removing that ink. And then I decide for a little pizzazz, we're going to put some of this Sparkly Stickles gel paste through the second stencil. Now, I don't know about you, but I often use Stickles as as a paste, basically, to put through different types of stencils. I've done that for years. So when I finally found that they have it in a gel medium like this, I really, really had to get my hands on it, and I'm not disappointed whatsoever. It's not very different than the regular Stickles, but it works beautifully. So let's look at this reveal. Will you look at that beautiful, the ink blending, the pizzazz with the sparkle in the center of each of those circles is just so, so pretty. Now here is where I stray a little bit from This Calls for Confetti products, only because I really wanted to honor my daughter with this birthday card. So in the same spirit that Lisa created Alice's story, all the different line, or the whole line with all the different products that she has to honor her mama, I wanted to honor my daughter. So that's why I strayed with the florals instead of using the floral images from This Calls for Confetti. So cherry blossoms have a special place in my heart in relation to my daughter that I lost, and so I wasn't sure which one of these two I wanted to use. So I stamped them both out using my Versamark, and then of course I used my little embossing buddy so that when I put the embossing powder down, it doesn't stick where I don't want it. So I stamped them both a couple of times, and then I pull out the gold embossing powder, and I sprinkle both images with the gold embossing powder, and then I heat emboss them. And then there's just something so magical about watching heat embossing. So I actually emboss both of them on screen. I don't show the whole process, but I'm just going to be quiet and we can all be mesmerized while this happens. Shh. Always so much fun. And now to keep my colors coordinating with the background, I decided I was just going to use those same distress inks. I think they're all distressed. I don't think I used any oxides. And I smush them out on my desk, as you can see, spray it with a little bit of water, and voila, we now have paint. So just down and dirty, as I always do, no specific techniques being used or anything like that. I just go in and I lay down the color where I want it, going over some areas a couple times if I want it to be darker, or if I feel like leaves or petals are overlapping and I feel there should be a shadow, but I don't give it a whole lot of thought. I just wing it most of the time. And these images are both just so pretty. I don't know that you could mess them up anyway. Now this is the only one that I paint. The other one I just leave all heat embossed, but you will see sooner than later that I actually fussy cut both of them out. It's a lot of fussy cutting, but at this point I don't know yet which one I want to use. I actually had to reach out to my friend and my kiddo and ask, hey, which one do you think? And I sent several different pictures in the process, and we all landed on the same opinion. And if you paid attention to the thumbnail at the very beginning, you will know which one I ended up using. I also shared this card on social media already, so you probably already know. But there is that process all painted up, and then I do the fussy cutting. Now I don't get real close. I don't worry about that. I like there to be a little bit of a white border. I do move my paper more than I move my scissors, and I cut off the excess as I go. It makes it a little bit easier. It kind of streamlines your process a little bit, and it gets those bulky extra pieces out of your way. And then here I have this one fussy cut out, and you can see that I used the die around the arch, and I cut out that beautiful background, and you can see what that heat embossed one from Penny Black looks like. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you, that is one of the slapstick clings from Penny Black. It is called Blissful Blossoms. This one that I'm fussy cutting out now is from Altenew, and it is called Best Mom. And there is that one fussy cut out laying on the background as well. And I really am unsure what I want to do at this point. So I'm going back and forth. You know how I audition. I lay something down and look at it. Sometimes I walk away and come back with fresh eyes. And then I decided I am going to layer this with a piece of gold. So does that change everything? Yes, it does in my book. I love both of them, but I still have a little bit of indecision. Ultimately, I end up going with the Best Mom Cherry Blossom from Altenew. So you can see that I cut down that piece of the foiled cardstock. Now I used the largest die from the Happy Layering die set, again from this Calls for Confetti, and I used a smaller die to cut out those excess pieces in there because I don't want to waste my foil paper, if you know what I mean. The specialty cardstocks can get pricey, and I want to make sure that I am using them well, if that makes sense. So I cut out that little bit of excess. No one's going to know that that piece is missing because it's going to be behind my focal image, which you can see that I am lifting it up on some double-sided foam tape because I want to make sure that my focal point stays my focal point, because it's going to be fighting a little bit with that shine and the brilliance of that gold foiled cardstock. So in order to keep my focal point, I'm going to lift it up on the double-sided foam tape, help it have just a little bit more prominence on the card than it otherwise might. And of course, I add a little bit of wet glue to my double-sided foam tape in case I need to move things around. That allows me to do so. And then you can see what it's going to look like. And of course, again, to make sure that my focus stays on this center, I lift the floral spray up on some double-sided foam tape as well. And again, I used a little bit of that liquid glue, and here I have a piece of tulle ribbon, and I glue that down, and I used some reverse tweezers to hold it in place till the glue dried. And now here I have some of this all-purpose ink from, I don't know who it's from, Sukaneko, and I splatter that. I just wanted there to be even more shine, if you can believe it. And then I did just a little bit of ink blending around the edges, and then I bring in my stencil and all three colors of ink again, and just add a little bit of extra detail there to the corner, and I do the same thing to the back, adding those gold splotchy glittery goodness bits. I don't know what to call it. But just the splatters of gold paint or gold ink is just so pretty. And it does, it adds another layer of bling and another focal point, if you will. And it just is so, so pretty. So you can see where those little white spots are underneath my ink blending and the stenciling. That's because there was a little bit of dried glue on the back of that card base, and it served as a resist, basically, a glue resist. So kind of interesting the way that worked out, but I think it still turned out very, very pretty. Now here I am using, as you can see, the sentiment that says "From All of Us," and that is from the stamp set called "From All of Us" by Simon Says Stamp. This is a stamp set that has so many different sentiments on there from everyone in the office, or you can say it's from the whole family, but it has "we" and "us." So the recipient of whatever it is you're making realizes that it comes from a group of people. And here I use the Handmade Especially for You on the back. That is from the Handmade stamp set by Anna White. And I am using my gold Delicata ink just to carry that gold all the way through from the front to the inside and the back. And now I'm using my little pickup wand from this Calls for Confetti to lay down some of these beautiful sparkle gems, again from this Calls for Confetti. You can see I have the happy birthday sentiment stamped out. I actually heat embossed that in gold as well, and then I die cut it out. Now that sentiment is from the Alice's Story birthday sentiments, and there's also coordinating dies to cut out the word sentiments. So that is how I finished up this card. You can see all the splatter, the shine from the layering piece, the shine from the sparkle gems, the spine on the shine on the heat embossing, and the splatters and the Delicata ink. It just turned out so lovely. I'm very, very happy with this card, and I'm happy that I went with the cherry blossoms from a baby girl. I think she would be happy with it. So guys, this is my card for today. Thank you for spending some time with me. Make sure that you hop on over and support this Calls for Confetti. Take a look over at Altenew as well as Penny Black and see if you're interested in anything they might have. I'll try to remember to link everybody downstairs in the description box. And until next time, guys, this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy, with a beautiful happy birthday card. And until next time, I'm out.